What up, guys? So, at the time of watching this particular video, I have officially turned 25. And, so, if you guys are watching this particular video in the comments, of course, wish me a happy birthday today. And then also, for those who are seeing this, 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, or a couple days from now, wish me a happy belated birthday. But as you guys read the title, I've officially turned 25 today. And these are some things that I will go back and tell my 18-year-old self, or I would encourage another young man who was 18 figuring out life like I was figuring out life, which I'm still figuring out life, by the way. But these are some things that I would go back and tell myself. Number one, the biggest, is wear condoms. Now, I'm one of those particular people. I've always moved with caution, and I've always been prepared, right? But I understand that, everybody didn't grow up how I grew up. Everybody's not as cautious as I am. I'm one of the fortunate people who've never contracted any form of STDs or anything of that nature, because I've always worn condoms, even when I lost my virginity, right? But that's not everybody. Everybody doesn't have the same, guidance when they're young. Everybody doesn't have the same knowledge, and everybody's not exposed to what I was exposed to when I had turned 18. When I was 18, when I was in high school, and even when I turned 19, going into college, I was already exposed to people contracting STDs, giving each other STDs, getting STDs that you can't get rid of. So, and I've also seen how that affects relationships, but also how just not wearing condoms affects people's everyday lives. Plenty of people who I know, especially a ton of my own family members, and a lot of my once upon a time closest friends, they all didn't wear condoms. So they were just having baby after baby after baby, which is not saying that's a bad thing. But a lot of those people at that particular time, most people who are 18 years old, who don't come from a family of wealth, are broke and can't afford it. So, of course, that was a little bit of my mindset when I was 18, was okay, if I'm going to do this act, I probably shouldn't be doing it unprotected or moving cautiously, because number one, I can't afford a kid. Number two, I can't afford an STD either. So that was, as mentioned, most people in that age group cannot afford to have a kid, especially young males. And a lot of young males at that age, while that's considered grown and while that's considered you're technically an adult, most young men are not mature at that age to know what responsibilities come with raising a child, and then also raising a child with somebody who you don't necessarily want to be with long term. And a lot of people at that age who do end up having kids don't end up having the maturity and the mindset of still being there for the kid, even if they don't like their significant other who they ultimately decided to have a kid with. With that being said, number two would have to be on my list is what I would consider, definitely one of the most important, is to learn more skill sets and stack skill sets. So while I am skilled at a ton of things, and I did garner a lot of skill sets over the past 7 to 10 years, because I was stacking skill sets when I was started stacking skill sets by the time I was 15. But only thing I would have wished that I would have spent more time into learning is learning how to do things such as, and I would encourage any young male to do this, no matter what skill set you're learning, make sure you know how to stack skill sets. Learning things like plumbing, learning things like construction work, That way, you know, a lot of stuff I could do myself, or if I was ever in a bind, which I've been in several binds over the past couple years since 18, I would have been able to do those particular skill sets that are high level and that are extremely needed, no matter what the world's going through at the time, and I would have still been getting paid better than most people that live in America. So definitely stack skill sets, because if you have a skill set, you know, it's kind of hard to not bounce back, even if it takes time. So one of my skill sets right now is, you know, I'm a commercial real estate agent. And then also I have the skill set of marketing, sales, dealing with technology, training AI, and the list go on, so on and so on. Number 3 would be to find valuable friends. Now, this is something that I definitely wish that I definitely did at 18 when I was in high school, because a lot of the people who I went to high school with and a lot of the people who I befriended when I was 18 and over the course of getting to 25 were not some of the best people, and ultimately a lot of those people either died, crashed out, or just so happened to be bums and probably the worst of the worst type of people. I do feel as if I would have surrounded myself around people who were more like-minded like myself, I definitely would have a better relationship so on with a lot of my colleagues and my friends that I actually grew up with and graduated with. And, you know, for those who, the biggest thing is, like, you know, if you're watching this video and you're 18, or even if you're between the ages of 18 to 25, definitely challenge yourself to get as many different friends as possible, but also challenge yourself to get friends that are know more than you, that are doing better than you, and people that you can actually learn from and pull from if need be. Also, going into number 4 is invest calculated. So I was fortunate enough to be one of those people before 18 to learn about the importance of investing, and I did start at early investment accounts. The only downside to that was I didn't invest calculated. I wasn't calculated with my investing, so early on I lost a ton of money investing into things I knew nothing about, listening to other people, and not actually doing the research myself. Had I would have did the research myself, my brokerage accounts probably would be a lot higher than what they are now. But overall, and with time, I was able to learn and able to fix the issues that I made at 18. But definitely invest heavily, and that doesn't even apply financially. That applies to your friends, family, the people you spend time with, the things you spend your time on, watching YouTube videos, being on TikTok, Instagram, taking in negativity, studying, going to school. Invest calculated and invest heavily, wisely, so you can get ahead in your life. Number 5 would be to stay fit. Now, I didn't really have an issue with this when I was 18-ish, but the only thing I did at the time, I remember when I was 18, I wasn't as health conscious as I was now. So, like, when it came to switching over to the vegan lifestyle, cutting out meat out of my diet, I didn't really take heed of that until I was about, like, 20 years old. Which is not a problem, it's still young, but the earlier the better. Even if you're not 18 and you're watching this video, highly recommend you definitely start going to the gym young. Start investing into your health and what you're eating, and taking notes of what you're putting into your body and your output young. Cut the drugs, cut the alcohol. I was fortunate enough to be one of those people who have never drunk or indulged in drinking and smoking and all that other stuff. I was, you know, very fortunate that I never really had to deal with that. Although I was around that type of stuff, just wasn't my cup of tea. Number 6 would be to build discipline. I'm pretty sure if you're watching this video, you've probably seen young men, they call YNs, crashing out. They have a short temper. you step on their shoe, or you accidentally bump into them, they pulling out a gun on you, robbing people. All of that falls into the category of lack of discipline and lack of emotional stability. Now, while it's cool, that women, are emotionally unstable, that's just their biogenetics. But as a man, most men need to learn how to control their emotions and also stay disciplined in certain situations. Not every situation that happens to you on your journey in life as a young man deserves a response, and it also doesn't deserve a violent response. Control your anger. Learn how to dissolve issues peacefully. Learn how to be reasonable, because while it's good to know, that you are a gangster, you can, kill if you need to be killed, a lot of young men take it a little too far with, being influenced by drill music, being influenced by rap, gangster rap, and going through it. Most young men, if they mastered discipline early and they were instilled discipline early, they would have not been crashing out and going into things that they're going through at that particular age. I know, because I grew up around those people. And that is also leading into my next topic is, influence the youth more. And scratch that. Actually, my number 7th would actually be look for more father figures. So most people, you probably see me and see like the things that I've accomplished. You probably think that I had my actual biological father in my life, which I didn't. But I had great father figures that I could look up to. The only thing that I probably would have instilled in myself differently, and which is really kind of out of my control past 18, but was surrounding myself around as many father figures as possible. That way I learned the game of life quicker and easier, and I didn't have to go through a lot of the mistakes that I did end up going through, which turned me into the person that I am today. And the reason why I say that is because oftentimes a lot of good father figures can kind of tell you certain things that they've been through as they've been where you are currently right now, and they can tell you what to do to not go through the same or make the same mistakes that they did, if that makes sense. Number 8, invest more into real relationships. Now, while between 18 and 25 is still a very, very young age, one of the things that I do think I probably should have did more when I was 18 was date a lot more. I was one of those people who, when I was in high school, I was in a long-term committed relationship, and it was very toxic. Everything you could think of, it was probably happening. And I feel, had I, around 18, if I would have, opened the door and built more of my social skills, I wouldn't have had to do all of that stuff in my early 20s per se. Which, not saying it's wrong to do it in your early 20s, but a lot of the stuff that I know now, as far as, having social skills, learning how to talk to women, having confidence to talk to women, any type of women too, because a lot of you guys, I'm pretty sure you guys have seen my Instagram profile. I be around every type of woman that you could think of. But with that being said, I didn't learn those skill sets until the past 3 to 4 years. So I didn't really learn, the skill of talking to females, having confidence to talk to females, building real relationships with females, and having relations with multiple females or several different females until I was about 23, which was 2 years ago. So the biggest advice that I give to any young man right now is to start early. Get that experience early, and of course, if you have your father in your life, it definitely helps. So yeah. Number 9, Become obsessed with failure. Now, this is one of the biggest ones that I think that I should have chased more when I was 18, was becoming obsessed with failure. When I was 18, and between 18 and I would say about 23, I was overtly scared of any type of failure, to the point to where I never really did anything or tried anything because I was scared to fail, or I didn't put my all into a lot of things because I was scared to fail. Which, if I would have known what I know now, being at 25, is I could have failed for the past 7 to 8 years and still be 25 and be able to start all over and face my life and build up. So, perfect example is I made some calculated investments when I was 20 to 23, and I failed a lot. But at 24, I bounced back. Then it made me realize, like, wow, I probably should have, did a lot of the stuff that I'm doing now at 18. And had I would have did it and took the risk, even if I would have failed, I would have had more experience to bounce back, and I would have bounced back sooner if I would have started sooner. But it's neither here or there. But to anybody who's watching this, definitely encourage you to start that thing now and become obsessed with failure. Number 10. This is the biggest. While it's a lot of people who, look up to rappers, look up to people on social media, and, a lot of you probably watching this video may end up becoming those people. But that's not everybody's life. And that's also not to say that you can not get rich. But I will say is, for those who do end up going through that, or who gets jealous of those particular people, the biggest thing that I learned, and that I would encourage anybody, at 18 and between the ages of 18 and 25, is don't become obsessed and don't chase fame. Like, oftentimes when you start a new business, when you start a new career, or when you have a new journey, or even if you have a hit song, everything has its period. You're not always going to be that number one best thing popping. It's just reality. But it's okay. As long as you are stable and you're able to, find success, pay your bills, and live a good life, fame doesn't matter. Because after a while, when the fame dies, the people leave, the fans leave, and they're not going to always be there. Everybody can't be Drake. And even people like Drake are going through what they're going through. Running the rap game for 15 years. And all of a sudden he loses one rap beef. And now the whole world, and he's suing his record label. The whole world is turning against him. Even Michael Jackson. Pretty much the same story. Chasing fame can ruin your life, and it can ruin your mental health ultimately. And if the biggest thing that I would say is, a lot of people who do things on clout for social media, or even do social media in general, is essentially just for clout and fame, because people want attention. If you can master, being okay with not having attention 24/7 and not trying to be that guy, and you just focus on winning yourself, I promise you'll be more successful. I hope you guys like this particular video. This is actually by far one of my best videos, and we did it in one take. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share. And of course, wish me a happy birthday. And most importantly, for those who want to learn anything about the real estate business, or you want to shop my perfume fragrance aromatherapy brand, check the links in the description. We got everything in there.